consist. Welcome to the Boxing Life podcast with me, Tony Jeffries. Today, we've got a good episode lined up. I hope it's going to be good. Got a good friend of mine right next to me here, Rashad Holloway. Rashad, how's it going, mate?
Life is good. Can't complain.
Life is good.
Sunday, hot date after this, so, you know, it's real.
That's why you're dressed up in them fancy jeans and them fancy shoes.
Of course.
Well, you've always got your fancy shoes on.
Yeah, you know.
Alongside Rashad, Glenn, Six Figure Homes.
How's it going? How's it going, everyone? Is that the first time he's heard that?
Hey, bro, I've never heard that.
You've never heard that?
Hell no. Hell no.
Well, you know how much he's earning, so, you know, we need a nickname for that.
Hey.
Alongside Glenn,
Stepping up.
we got Mr. Kevin Watson. Kev, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Going very well, going very well. So this is the first time we've had Rashad on the podcast. We've asked him a few times. He's always been busy.
No. Truth is, I'm the outcast. I'm one of the founding guys. See these guys right here? One of the founding starters of Box and Burn. But, you know, I'm the outcast. Always the black sheep, and I'm literally the black sheep.
And this is the guy that invented the squat as well.
I invented everything. Look. When Glenn didn't know how to do a push-up, I taught him how to do a push-up.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
Yeah, you invented the push-up.
Six-figure Glenn.
So, Rashad,
What's up?
for people who don't know you, which will be probably everyone, because you're not very popular.
Oh, no.
People
People only know you in England.
But no, Rashad, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm black. Nah. I don't know. What you want to know? No, I'm just messing around. But grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, long-time boxer. Started as a kid, you know, Cincinnati to Homer. What? Where do I start, man? Because we got better
that's
fighters
it.
than you
Start.
are.
Let's start.
Ezra Charles, Aaron Pryor, Tony Tubbs, you know, the one that you all know now, Adrian Broner. Like, I grew up boxing there, big boxing town. Had a long amateur career. Always a talented screw up. You know, one of them guys that was talented, that did just enough. You know, had a pretty good career though. You know.
Yeah. Then you turned pro. You had one more fights with it?
I don't even remember. No, I'm just playing. I had 111 amateur fights, finished 90-13. Ranked as high as number 3 in the nation. Did all right as an amateur. Lost in the 04 trials. Didn't make it. Turned pro. Came out here training with Freddie Roach. And career went all right. You know, I was a big prospect for a minute that, how can I say this? Never did enough. You know, I was known more so for beating up some of the top superstars in boxing in the gym. You know, They called me the super sparring partner. You know, because like I said, I was just one of them talented kids that really didn't focus that much, but I did just enough. I had 21 pro fights, 17 2-2.
21 pro fights. And some of the names that you sparred with, and you said that you used to do really well on these spars with the likes of Pacquiao, Mayweather,
Shane Mosley, Sergio Moore. I mean, you name it. I mean,
did you spar Mayweather?
No, never sparred Mayweather.
Oh,
never
right.
sparred Mayweather.
Yeah.
I don't know why people say that, but no, I never sparred Mayweather. I always wanted to. When I trained with Eddie Mustafa Muhammad in Vegas, I used to bug him to let me go over there. He used to tell me, like, no. He said, you're not ready for that. He says, you know how much trash he's going to talk to you, and you're going to be ready to fight outside the ring. I said, okay, you got a point. But I always wanted to stand up against him, but
so
never happened.
A long career, out over 100 fights, and now, what are you doing now? Now you're into the fitness industry, right?
Yeah, got into the fitness industry. By accident. Actually, Freddie Roach was the one that really got me into it by accident.
Right.
So I got into that about 5 years ago. Started a gym. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. Put a little money into it. It tanked. Then started another one with an old investor. Started a little building. You all were familiar with the old Iron Gym.
Yeah.
An old guy from my pro career. He talked me into coming down there and starting this little basement thing. Did that. Then I met some English dude. This English guy. And you know, one of my Midwest down south / boys. You know, and came over there. And then there was another guy. You remember this little scrawny little kid that used to work in a sneaker store, and now he's like a big hot 6-figure trainer now. Oh damn, here he is. What's up, Glenn? Yeah, you know. Got into it at Box and Burn with these boys, and you know, from the beginning, I was around first couple of years, I was around heavy, and then I kind of got into my own stuff, and the boys took off.
Yeah.
Proud of them.
So we're talking on this podcast today about training as a professional, or training professionals. I know you've done that as well, compared to people training for fitness. But just before we get into that, there's a lot of people listening to this podcast who are in the fitness industry, and who've got gyms or looking to open their own gym. But I noticed you just said there that your gym flopped that you opened.
Right.
What what was that about? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think coming into it, like I used to help a guy, Martin Snow. I don't know if you remember. You know Martin Snow. Martin Snow had the gym Trinity Boxing.
Right.
So I got into it. Me and Kid Chocolate, like in between fights, we would go by his gym. Kid Chocolate worked for him in New York before he made it big. But we would go by his gym when he moved to California, and I would just go by and mess with him. Some days he'd be like, hey, kid, come over here, help me do the classes. So I would go in there and mess with him, teach boxing a little bit every now and then. So when I got injured, he asked me to help him come run the gym. And then Freddie one day called me down when some producer guys were there. Freddie called me and was like, hey, him and Eric Brown were like, hey, there's some guy that wants me to coach some singer dude to do a movie. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, he wants to emulate Sugar Ray Leonard. And I told him, you can do the job because you like Sugar Ray Leonard. That was your idol. And I'm like, okay, what's this dude? He's like, some guy named Usher. I don't know who he is. I looked at him. I'm like, Usher? I'm like, what? I'm like, Usher? I'm like, hell yeah, I'll train him. So, just got into that for a few weeks. Didn't really know what I was doing, but like as far as the fitness aspect, had no clue where I wanted to go, should I say. Taught him boxing for a minute. Didn't work out because I didn't want to go to Georgia where they were filming. That's the movie that they have out now. That started almost 5 years ago. Yeah, it started that long ago. And long story short, got talked into investing in a gym with some guys I knew to live behind me. Some investor was looking for somebody to run the gym because his cousin that he sent out there to do it, they had a state-of-the-art gym, like 2,000 square feet in West Hollywood. I had no clue. When I tell you no clue, I'm just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to own something. I get to own a gym. Right. I'm like, man, I'm from the hood. I box and I can own a business. I'm like, hell yeah, count me in. So, I put some money into a gym. I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, it's just $10,500 a month. And I'm thinking to myself, I got this buzz. I got celebrities I'm training now. I got calls after this Usher thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this gym thing on. I found out the hard way. Right. Put money into equipment. Oh man, I invested well over $100K into that place. Wow. And within 5 months, boom, tanked.
Went down.
Went downhill.
Couldn't pay the rent.
No, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, there was no money coming in.
Where was the gym?
West Hollywood, right by Earth Cafe.
Oh, Melrose area?
Yeah, right there off Westmount, or Westmount to be exact.
So if someone's looking to do that, what would your advice be to someone who's going to open a gym?
To be honest with you, I know a lot of trainers that make six figures, like my man right here, that honestly don't open gyms. They don't own gyms, should I say. Yeah. They go around to different gyms. We got one guy, a guy named Mike that comes in here and trains a couple clients here and there. He does very well for himself. You know what I mean? I think training is really a business that you have to understand. You have to know the ins and outs of it. You have to be good at it in some aspects. And I think you get a better concept of what it's like in the earning aspect and what it's like to run and operate a gym just from being able to see it. And just because you own something does not mean you make money. And you guys know that. You guys know that from experiences. Like, in the beginning, there was no money here. Yeah. You know what I mean? There was no money in the very beginning. You guys had to take little or nothing. We be in here slaving, teaching classes, not making anything, hoping to bank on clients. And I think you really have to understand business and what it is that you're doing and honestly be honest with yourself and see the kind of money that you're making to see if you want to get into opening up a business. Because being a boss, you have a lot of overhead, you have a lot of responsibilities, and that's not for everybody. Right. You know what I mean? Everybody can't delegate. Everybody can't operate and control that way.
I think what you said about being in it day to day and seeing how things are run is crucial. I think if people who aren't in it day to day and they just kind of see it from the outside looking in and like, oh, they own a gym and it's successful, it's like, well, I could do that. And then as soon as they go and try and do it, it's like, oh shit, you got to do this, you got to do that. Whoa. And then don't see the hard work and the stuff behind the scenes that goes on and the kind of skill and organization or whatever that goes into it. That's where I think people fall down.
Exactly. It takes a while just to get to that point. You got to look at it like this. Like I looked at it like I was training these guys and the rent was $10,500 a month. So with the rent being $10,500 a month, we really didn't have many customers coming in because the gym's just getting off the ground. Right. Mm-hmm. It's been there, but the guys that were running it didn't have a clue. They didn't have one member in the gym. The gym was pretty much just a big showcase place. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm making money. So $10,500, me and my partner can split this a month. And I'm like, hold on. Every dollar I'm getting from training people, I got to pay the rent. Right. Yeah. Something's coming up. I'm like, hold on. This isn't working. Like, I own a place, and I'm making no money. Yeah. Like, we're buying more equipment for the place. I'm like, after 5 months, I'm like, guys, I don't know what I can do.
Yeah. I think go on, Kev. I was going to say, I think a big part of it, I'm not saying this was anything to do with why that gym maybe wasn't successful, but as far as your, whatever, if you have a gym, you have a training style, and you have a brand, you brand that training style, can you teach other people that training style,
Right.
because you can't just rely on yourself and your one other partner to keep the doors open, to keep the place afloat. You really need to have other people that can come in and uphold and train the way that you train. That is a successful way of training, and then can those people retain those clients because they've committed to learning that training style and those theories and those practices.
And even more so on top of that, add their own flavor and spice to it.
Sure.
Can they do it your way and then bring something extra on top of that?
Yes.
But I think it's bigger than that. I mean, look at where you guys started. You guys were iron. You know what I mean? You started from the bottom, and then you saw, like, look, we can do this on our own. Let's try to step outside of here. You build a name for yourselves on your own, and you go into the park. You started in the park, and you started to understand the business aspect of it. Then
Gradual.
it transferred to here. Like, we had no plan. I had no plan. I'm just like, I get to own something. You know what I mean? I didn't listen.
That's part of it.
Like, literally, we would sit in the gym every day, and we'd just be sitting here. All right, let's make up some flyers. Let's go pass them out. Let's go to Earth Cafe. Let's just dump a bunch of flyers. Let's go get a bunch of girls. And are we gonna have classes? I don't know. Are we gonna train people privately? Oh, I got a client at 2:00. I got another one at 8 in the morning. Like,
Just
we
no
didn't have
plan.
a clue. There was no plan.
Yeah.
And like anything else in life, if there's no plan, there's no success. You know what I mean? You have to have a plan.
And like what you've just said there about, lots of trainers that are earning six figures, like Glenn, who not having their own gym. It's like, Glenn, you've never really had any ambitions to own a gym. I know people said to you before, why don't you open your own gym? And you've been like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I have no interest in doing it. I mean, I feel like I've got that feeling of kind of being my own business a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's all I need to satisfy that side of it for me.
Right.
Me taking on rent and landlords and ordering equipment and managing a team that I'm 100% responsible for, and employing people and doing point of sale transactions and all that stuff that I see you guys do. I don't have any desire to do that.
It's a lot of responsibility. I mean, let's be real. I remember in the beginning, you didn't have a clue. Kev has been the brains behind it, but then soon you picked up. You know what I mean? Like you have more so, like, everybody plays a role. Like, you have more so the name, the background into the boxing field. You know what I mean? Which gave you that extra push, that extra pump, it gave you the validation. Kev had his background in basketball. I'm sorry, I was about to say basketball, but he had his background in basketball. He was great in fitness. You know what I mean? It's like it balanced one another out.
Yeah,
and then when everybody came together, it's like everybody put in the hard work, and it just took off. And then from there, you all were able to go ahead and just really sustain it and take it to another level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's great. We should on the last podcast where we talked about the fitness business industry. But I'm sure people who listen to this are going to get a lot from that.
Yeah, I think just going back on about owning your own gym as well, you said earlier you've got to be like honest with yourself and know what you're good at.
Right.
And
that's big.
That's another reason why I don't have a desire to do it. It's like I don't think that's my best skill.
Yeah. I'm all over the place. I'll take a percentage. I'll be an investor. I'll take a percentage and I'm gone. I don't want to operate it. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want the responsibility.
So now let's talk about what on this podcast topic is about training for fitness or training for profession. I know I've got experience training as a professional athlete. You have, Rashard. Kev, you've got lots of experience of training like world-class amateur athletes in the basketball, in the college basketball. It's kind of like professional.
Yeah,
it is.
Same thing.
It's just classed as amateur for laws, right?
That's professional.
Yeah,
that's top. That's Division I. That's there. It's there.
And Glenn's got been training for fitness now for 5 years, like day in, day out, you know. And I know you see the other side of it as well. But now you're training Tony Ferguson,
right,
who's a professional athlete.
Right.
What would you say is some things what it's like training? Let's talk about for yourself first. When you've been training yourself as a professional athlete to training clients, and I know it's like night and day kind of.
Right.
But what's the big differences?
I think the biggest thing, and I think you can understand this. I think probably I know you can understand this. You can understand this, and I think Glenn, from his experience and being able to see it, he can get it now. Like, even though you weren't a pro athlete, like you get to deal with athletes and everybody else. It's like, Glenn, you got the work ethic of a professional athlete. You play collegiate ball. You got the work ethic of a professional athlete. You got the work ethic. So it's kind of like when you first get into training clients, you expect everybody to have that same kind of work ethic. You know what I mean? So in the beginning, I had no clue. I was just like major pain, and that's why people talk about my class to this day here. You know what I mean? I'm like, go, do this, yeah. I expected everyone to give it the same kind of push that I gave it, but it wasn't more so because as an athlete, I'm not going to say I wanted to give it 100%. I knew that's what I had to do, even when I did. Even when I gave it 75 and 80, I knew I had to push it. But my 75 and 80, with some people in here, is 20 and 10%. You know what I mean? So I had to understand the difference in what it was. Like, you got people with day-to-day jobs. They're looking to be fit. They're not training for competition.
Right.
When you're training for competition, you're at an extreme level. They're more so training on like on a day-to-day basis and having a goal in the future. It's not it's not instant gratification. Like, as a professional athlete, we're looking for instant gratification. What I mean by instant gratification is, of course, it's not tomorrow, but we're looking at 8 weeks to get in shape, 6 weeks to get in shape, and then we have to keep that level.
Pressure,
Exactly, we got to keep that level. So when you're training clients, you have to realize you don't have to be as intense. You have to understand clients. You have to understand how to push them. You have to understand what levels you need to push them and when you need to pull back. You have to understand how to deal with them, the way you can relate to them. And you also have to understand that you're not looking to set a goal in 7 to 8 weeks. You're looking to have longevity with them. So it's just building a good foundation and a base, because they don't have one coming in.
It allows you to have more fun with it as well, because it's more.
Of course, of course.
One thing I was shocked at when I come to LA from Sunderland was just how fit non-athletes are. Like, everyday people over here is like ridiculous. And like you said,
lifestyle,
they're not like pro athletes, but they're training like every day.
Yeah,
where I'm sure it's the same where all of us are from. People at home is not like that, but here they're fit.
What an eye opener! We did a couple of box and burn classes down in Orange County the other day, and same thing. They're training probably day in, day out, but they'd never done boxing training or same our style of training, and they found it. I could see early on they were really tired, and it just made me think about the members that are coming in this gym, getting through these classes day in, day out.
And these classes are tough.
And it's like, I'm like, I couldn't believe, you get a real appreciation for how in shape these people are. It's crazy.
We kind of created a bunch of monsters now. People, they're such good shape. They're like, well, classes aren't hard anymore. It's like, well, classes are hard. You just got a lot of,
really good shape, man.
I think every one of us has done a class. And listen, I remember when I was making my comeback and I did a couple classes, and Tony had to coach. Tony was actually coaching that day, and when I coach, I picked on him. Now listen, these classes are hard as hell. Listen, they're hard. Like, if you can do them day in and day out, like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, at first, I'm just like, oh, these classes or whatever. When I did the actual class, I'm like, this. Like, I'm not doing this. You know what I mean? So for the people that do it on a regular basis, they're fit. You know what I mean? They're fit. But they don't have that same foundation as a professional athlete. But they've learned that, not learned, but a lot of them have built that foundation being here. But I think that's the difference in a pro athlete and client.
As a pro athlete, I mean, just about all of my experiences with pro boxers, and the focus that you've got when you're a pro boxer in training camp, the focus that I had was ridiculous, mate. Like, I wouldn't walk upstairs when I was resting. I would get a lift. I'd go a different direction. You know, I'd need to rest my body. I was like obsessed with it, with the diet and all that. And I think, like, the focus is a huge difference, where everyday people, if they're tired the next day,
they just quit. They just take a break.
Yeah, they can take a break.
Yeah, they can take it off.
Whereas a professional athletes go.
It's mental.
I've got a question for you two. In your pro fights, how many of those pro fights did you have where you were 100% physically?
None.
I would say the same thing. I'm going to answer first. But
I believe that no pro fighter, when they always say I'm 100% and all that, none. No. I might be the same in basketball.
You mean injury-free? Or
or just like niggles or tweaks?
What'd you say?
Needles? Did you say needles?
Niggles.
What is niggles?
Niggles is like...
Here we go.
Never heard of a niggle.
Every now and then there's English
like a
stuff.
strain.
Like aches and pains?
Like a strain.
We can't curse on the thing, Cameron. We can't curse, Cameron.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. You should have told me that a long time ago. I've been holding back.
Yeah, I mean, you've always got little pains. Like, when it come to the point where my last 4 or 5 professional fights, I was getting anaesthetic injected into my knuckles.
Hands, right?
Yeah, so I could fight. And I mean, once you had anaesthetic in your hands, I felt like I could punch through a wall.
And after it was over,
just doing more and more damage.
Oh shit! Me hand.
See, I need the piss coming over me, cock wire.
Hey man, hey listen. I think like towards the end of my career, oh God, I was just old. I had everything wrong. My elbow was messed up. Before I even tore my shoulder would give me issues. My left knee is still messed up when I go out here and run. My groins hurt. I was always banged up. The ice bath was my best friend.
It's not because of your age, it's because of
the wear and tear on your body.
Over the years.
But guess what? It's like a dog. They say for every 1 year for us is 7 years for a dog.
Yeah.
For boxers, it's like for every 1 year we're 12 years.
I think there's a lot of
athletes' bodies, period.
Some people are more durable than others as well.
Yeah.
Like I know that if I were to ever be a pro athlete, I don't think I'd be near as durable.
Kev,
There's some
you're
people
not durable either.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I fucking back surgery at 26. You know, come on. You know, but some people are just more durable than others, true. And that's, you know, everybody's a little bit different. But I think a lot of people, that plays a big role.
But we're talking about Triple G. We can talk about this and how now he's just fought Daniel Jacobs last night, and he's not looking his best. And I was talking to Frank Grillo about it earlier on in the gym, and I was saying, like, it's not because he's getting older, it's the wear and tear on his body. That lad's had over 250 fights. Been doing it since he's
300, over 300.
300 fights.
I mean, most pro fights have been short, but I imagine amateur careers probably.
But think about it, the training camp is the hardest part. The training is the hardest, just like in basketball. You go through a grueling, think about it, you go through a grueling week, and then you go and play a game that lasts an hour long. You know what I mean? The training through the week was the hardest part.
It's the sparring and the training camps that get you
the running, the normal wear and tear. It's like, and I don't think Triple G, I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's that he looked bad last night. I think he looked the same. I just think he was just fighting a different style fighter. Like, everybody that Triple G has fought, and this is with no disrespect, everybody has been handpicked for him to fight. And true indeed, a lot of guys have not faced him. He's fought some good guys, but that style of fighter, he hasn't really fought.
A slick, fast, powerful
southpaw. Or really a guy that I think I saw a different Danny. I saw Danny that really believed in himself last night, and he was able to withstand a lot and put up a hell of a fight, which a lot of people, including myself, thought he won. But I'm a little biased.
He had that size too, though. I mean, the weight.
A little biased. You're really biased. Danny Jacobs, your boy.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, he's the only dude in my life. Look, I lost him twice in amateurs. He beat me 9-7.
Oh, really?
0-1, Toledo National Power, 2001. He beat me 9-7. 9-7 computer scoring by 2 points. Then he beat me 3-1 in the 04 National Power, Virginia Beach. Beat me 3-1 paper scoring. So we've been tight a long time, man. But yeah, I was real biased.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, I mean, let's get back to the professional athletes compared to fitness. Like I said about LA, the fitness people here is like ridiculously
another level.
Like, so I think what you touched on before was the mindset as well of fitness, because as a professional athlete, that's all. I mean, I'm sure you were the same. That's all I was thinking about from the second I woke up in the morning until the second I went to bed at night. And it was my opponent and the training and am I resting properly, and then the doubts run through your mind about I should have done this today. I never worked hard enough. I've worked too hard. I've got sport tomorrow. I'm worried about this guy sport tomorrow. It's like your mindset is non-stop ticking. True. I hated it.
True.
I did. I didn't like it. I loved it. But the feeling after you fight, obviously when you're hungry, it's the best. But when you've got nothing coming up after 8-10 weeks,
you don't want to do anything. You're just like, oh, forget it.
Where these people in the fitness industry, they're consistent. They just work out all the time, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I think about Brendan quite a lot when we have this conversation or this topic, because I've seen him train for fights when you were training him when he was in the UFC. Yeah.
Every single session that I did with him, it was game planned for his next opponent. So all he's thinking about for that full hour or hour and a half.
Stick to the game plan.
Yeah, stick to the game plan, drilling it in his mind about this. Now when he's training, I trained him for the first time after his fights, and it was just like, bloody hell, your techniques went crap, because he's like, but I understand, because it was weird for me, because
he's not bothered.
He's not bothered. Like you said, he's enjoying it now. He's working with you all the time, and he's loving it. You know,
it's different. I mean, you look at it. I know as an athlete, and I think everybody can vouch for that. Like, training is not fun. I don't care what anybody says. Like, for me, training athletes, training ball players in the off season, training Tony, like training is not fun. Like, there reaches a certain point in training camp and you just dread it. You hate it. I don't care how much you love your sport.
Yeah.
You hate it. Like, I think about like what you just said, like how you would think, your mindset going into it. And I'm gonna say this, and I was thinking about this, and I wanted to give you some credit the other day. But you know, I don't give you too much credit. You know, it's not that often I give you credit. But I'm gonna tell you this: you English guys, like, you all have been successful in a lot of other countries in boxing now, more so than Americans, because, don't take this wrong, but you all are less talented in the athletic department, but more talented when it comes to focus. Not only focus, but plan and structure. Like, your organizations, the way they teach you all, the way they drill you all. That's why you all are so successful now versus a lot of us Americans, especially blacks. I mean, we're athletic. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of Americans, like boxers and athletes that we see nowadays, we're freaks.
That's
you know
what I was
mean?
going to say, but
we're
I don't know if
genetic
it's
freaks.
racist.
Like, but it's true.
The black guys are...
Yeah, it's true.
We're genetic freaks, but this is the problem, though. We're genetic freaks, but a lot of us don't put in the same hard work. Because I'm listening to what you said, how you would think about your opponents. Man, I didn't think about shit. Like, literally, I was so talented, it would be like, you know what, I get through my workout in the gym, and whoever I got to fight in that ring, I'm just like, all right, when I get in there, I'm just going to do my thing. And I think a lot of my peers thought the same way, because there were very few guys that were focused and have that kind of mentality that you had. But I look at your teams and like your British teams and a lot of these other teams from other countries and athletes, they don't have the genetic gifts that a lot of us Americans have.
Look at someone like Tyson Fury. You know, he's not like the most athletic guy. He's overweight.
No disrespect. Don't use him. Use somebody else.
Well, he's talented, obviously.
No, listen. He's a genetic freak. 7 foot something. He's one of the worst talented heavyweights. One of the worst talented heavyweights.
He's talented.
Listen, man. Listen to me. You know who was talented?
You know that he's going to work his ass off. For 10 weeks.
If I was 7 feet tall, I'd beat the world. Like, come on, man. Let me tell you something.
Here we go.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, let's debate, because this is what we gonna do. This is what I do best.
Give me an example, then. You give me an example, since you made the point.
Who's your favorite big guy as a fighter?
No, I'm not even talking about big guys. I'm talking about, like, your point about British fighters who aren't as athletically gifted as American fighters.
There are very few.
Work hard and
I'm
dedicated.
I'm going to tell you some British guys.
Give me an example.
I'm going to give you a prime example of a British guy that's athletic.
Anthony Joshua.
Carl Frampton. No, Anthony Joshua is black. I don't
James
count him.
DeGale.
He's black too. He's partially black. They're freaks. You know what I mean?
Joshua.
That's my point. No. But I'm going to take Carl Frampton.
Yeah.
Carl Frampton is athletic.
Yeah.
He's really athletic. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the guys that have a little bit of black in them, what's the heavyweight? What's the David Hay? He's athletic as hell.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of black in him too. You know what I mean? But you take the guys.
But Tony Bell, you just beat him.
But no, he's got a little bit of black in him too. But listen, but what I'm saying is the guys that aren't as athletic or aren't black, like Carl Frampton is athletic as hell. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you take some guys like he'd be mad as hell at me if I didn't remember his name. Scott Quigg. Scott Quigg is not athletic at all, but he works hard. He made it to be a world champion. You look at Matthew Macklin. It's my boy. Matthew Macklin was not the most athletic guy, but he worked hard to get a title. You take a lot of guys, George Groves, he's become a little more athletic, but these guys are more well-schooled. Like if you look at
the whole foundation of their training, and this guy was talking about it the other day.
And it's the way you all
started
train.
At like 10 or 11, and you're in the school, and you progressed every little step of the way.
You all are more schooled than we are. You all are a lot more schooled than we are, and a lot of countries are, like, because you know that you don't have the athletic gifts as much as Americans, and I think
that's not the reason why they do it, because they don't know
that's not it. But I'm just saying. But that's why you all are better school fighters now. There was a time when America ruled sports in every which way. Now you see the USA basketball team losing to other countries, everybody, because
they still rule though.
They still rule, but I'm saying there was a time when nobody would come close to beating us at any given time. But nowadays, like, you have people that are really determined, and they don't just rely on athletic gifts. And I think Americans, we're falling more short on hard work.
It's the whole mindset of amateur athletics and the progression.
But I think it's our lifestyle. And me, I'm black. I grew up in it. I'll be the first to tell you, the urban, the hip hop lifestyle, it's less work, more flash.
Well, how do you get from there? How do you get from there, the streets or wherever you come from, to becoming a pro and getting money and being able to take care of your family, take care of your people? What's the fastest route from A to B? And that's not how it is there. I think it's more so
they do it because they want to.
Yeah, they want to. Well, not to say that you know the amateur athletes here don't want to, because they come from different backgrounds, but I think, who was that guy that was in here the other day talking about? He was in Brentwood. He was talking to us a little bit about,
he was
the whole dynamic.
Sports minister for somewhere.
Yeah, the whole dynamic of amateur athletics is just totally different from what it is here.
But it changed. It wasn't always like that. It changed over the last 20 years. It's changed big time.
Well, the rules about how long you have to be out of high school before you can turn pro in basketball and football, like. And basketball, you have to be out of high school for at least a year, which means most of them go to play basketball for a year in college. But, they don't necessarily go there to get an education. They go there to it's just a stepping stone.
To get
the
coach
is there. It's a players-friendly environment here. We'll give you whatever you want to make you happy, but we just want you to come to our school.
Right. And the focus for them is to get to the money.
Yeah,
you know
exactly,
what I mean? But I think that's a lifestyle thing. Like, you look at England, like you look at the way you all grew up, the way you all live, like it's not as much flash. Here in America, I know you all don't follow the hip-hop culture back to the roots, but I remember when Cash Money came out in the whole bling bling era. I was in high school when that hit.
Masterpiece.
When that hit, you start seeing everything change. Like, I was born in 81. I'm saying my age.
Album covers.
I'm 36, baby, 36. Fresh. But I watched everything change. I watch athletes change. I watch sports change. I watch mentalities change, and I watch a lot of it change because of the music. The love for the sports died. The love to be great died. It just became the love to make money. That's what everything became about.
As
and that's
fast
what it's
as
become
possible
about now.
too, right?
As fast
Without
as
the
possible.
work.
So once they get to it, how many of my guys I know that I've grown up with and I've known over the years that signed NFL, NBA contracts, got 40, 50, 60 million, and they're broke to this day?
Yeah, because they don't have that foundation.
There's no foundation.
That knowledge of when I get this first contract, I have to earn the second contract. Well, no, I got my money now. I'm good. I'll get my second contract, but it's not, especially in NFL, it's not guaranteed.
But I'm gonna be honest though, it goes back to discipline in the way we are, and that's what I wanted to say. That's my difference in the way you guys are. You guys are well schooled in discipline. If there's a bad apple out of the bunch, he's out. Yeah. They're gonna take the next guy. It's not about favoritism. Of course, there's gonna be favoritism in everything, but it's not so much about we're just sold and stuck on this guy, because you got a million hard workers ready to take his spot. Yeah. Here more so, I watch the amateur program die. I'm watching amateur programs in all sports. I'm watching them die because everybody's sold on this 15 or 16-year-old kid that's supposed to be the phenom. Prodigy. But when he's not working hard, he's a prodigy. But when he's not working hard, and you got this 15-year-old kid who's not as talented, but they don't see that this kid's working so hard. He actually takes him to school every day because he's a harder worker. But no, he's not the prodigy. Let's keep the prodigy here. You all are more so like, look, you work hard, you stay here, you're going to eat, sleep, and shit this, and that's how you're going to become great. Right. No, and that's why a lot of your guys are prospering.
Definitely discipline, where I feel like, just the way you were talking about the focus, it wasn't there. I think that comes down to discipline.
Right, big time.
Real discipline.
But it's instilled in you. Your programs instill it. And I think that's where Americans, and I think the discipline, I think that's also the difference in like clients and professional athletes too. Like, professional athletes have to have discipline. There's some kind of discipline. Even if they're not the most disciplined, there's some discipline to being a pro athlete. A client doesn't have to have, a fitness person does not have to have that kind of discipline. Their mindset is different. They're coming in to have a good time to get in shape. Some are more intense than others, but as an athlete, you have to have some kind of discipline, even if it's not at the top level.
Right. So that's tell you what, I much prefer training people for fitness than I do for training athletes.
I agree with you.
You can have more fun as well.
Yeah, I got asked the other day, like, do you not want to train fighters? Or I was just like, nah. There's and we were talking about the pressure in the training. There's pressure on the trainer too, from the little bits that I've had with like doing Brendan's track workouts, or when Liam Smith came in or whatever. It's like I just feel instantly like a different vibe. It's like
It's a pressure. You got to be on point.
And like having to do that for like 8 to 10 weeks with someone whose career's on the line, health and it's like that's a huge responsibility.
Money's a factor too, though. Because unless you're training a fighter that's at the top, the elite level,
totally.
Even if you're training one of the UFC guys to the elite level, there's not a lot of kickback to you.
Yeah, totally.
Unless you're training one of those top echelon
superstars.
trainers. Yeah. There's no money there.
I'd much rather train a corporate person. My rates are high as hell, and I'd rather keep it that way.
How much is it? Is it really that it's not that it's more fun, or is it more so the money thing? I would love to train athletes. I think it's super fun.
I think it's more
kind of going that route, and I was like, well. There's a ceiling here, and unless you really are at the top, it's.
See, I think with training athletes, and when I trained Brendan, it was a great experience because I was in the corner, head trainer for 3 of his professional fights, which was nerve-wracking. But I think training professional athletes is a lot harder because it's hard for me to switch off. Like when I told you, when I'm a fighter, I'm thinking about my opponent. When I'm training Brendan, I'm thinking about his opponent. I'm looking on his opponent's Twitter, seeing what he's up to, trying to find videos of him training. I'm getting obsessed with Matt Mitrione, Andrei Arlovski and Travis Brown. I'm obsessed with them three. Sure. Them people now, I know everything about them because and that's why Brendan talking about the pay. Brendan paid me really well. Yeah, he paid us more than he's paid any coach before. But he knew how obsessed I was and how hard I would work, and I give him 100%. And the reason why I didn't want to train fighters, and I told him I didn't want to train them, and that's why he gave us more money, was because I wanted to concentrate on the business. Because when I'm giving 100% to this thing here, which is Brendan's fighting his career, I can't focus on the money maker, the fitness industry.
You're not a good multitasker, by the way.
I'm not.
You suck.
Well, not many males are.
I don't see how you have 2 little girls. I know you're like, okay, I'm gonna focus on you. Oh, I forgot about you, babe. I'm coming back. Yeah, you can't multitask for shit. You suck.
Yeah. So when training a fighter, that's why I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it ever again because, and I've had a couple of people ask us since Brendan. I'm like, nah. I train people for.
It's a headache.
It is.
That's what you said though about you get obsessed with it and you get 100% into it. There's very few trainers that are like that, especially in fighting. It's because they've got stables, they've got other different fighters coming in, and from what you've told me, and from seeing it here and there, it's like to find a trainer who's like that will get obsessed with the fight and the opponent and give 100% to their fighter. That's a really rare thing.
Not until I was a boxing a trainer did I know like how bad my trainers were. Not bad, but like how much better I would have been if I had someone like me or someone this passionate.
Nah, it's not that. It's not that. I'm going to tell you what it is. When you're on the other side for the first time, you can actually see everything that your trainers were teaching you that you were doing wrong. It becomes easy after that.
No, it does.
You think so?
It does. But at the same time, my trainers weren't doing this. You'd find some trainers that were on the phones and you shadowboxing and you know. So, yeah, I think now, like, I wish I had a trainer like you, Rashad.
Not like me.
One
like 6 figures.
Charges $200 an hour and shows up like 20 minutes later.
Hey, listen, man. Listen.
Shots fired.
Do as I say, not as I do, okay?
No questions. So I think we're going to go to the questions. If we've got any questions on here, I'm on here now. So, Nicholas guessed, Ricky Hatton, not athletic. His training was epic. Did you ever try and do the 15 round of the body belt, Tony? So, Ricky Hatton was another one, like you're saying, but not athletic. And he used to do the thing on the body bag. He used to go 15 rounds with Billy Graham, his trainer, and beast. I've done 12 rounds of that, but not 15 rounds.
That's a great example, by the way. We were looking for a good example.
Right.
That's the perfect example.
Next one, Tony Wheels. Training in the sunshine in LA is better feel-good factor than running around Silksworth running track before your gym workout. That is totally right. And we talked about that when we had Stephen Keenan about the one with the training, how much better it was training in the heat than it is in the cold in Sunderland. Next question is by Brandon Carrillo, our boy Brandon. How nervous do you and Rashard get before fights? How do you handle it? I'll let you go first with this one.
I think I'm nervous as hell. Well, I'm actually a little. I like the fighting part. Like it was fun for me, but I would get a little nervous like anybody else. But once the first punch was thrown, it went out the window. It was on. It was war.
Fight or flight.
It does. It goes out the window as soon as that punch was thrown. And for me, it was the most nerve-wracking part for me was getting my hands wrapped. Because when you get your hands wrapped, all you can do is sit like this with your hand out in front of you.
That was nervous?
I was so nervous. Because normally I'm walking around like shaking it out, looking in the mirror, shadow boxing, doing whatever I can, and taking your mind off it. Yeah, but when you've got to sit there like that, you've just got to sit still. And even though you've got your music on, the focus on your people's walking around, and you can see the nerves in my dad who was there, or other people, or your assistant trainer, or whatever. Them's nervous, so it's like got to try and keep it cool.
You was listening to the wrong music. You need some hip hop in there, baby.
We got some amazing questions.
Jay-Z, my man.
We got some more questions.
Amazing questions. All right, this is my favorite.
Read the name.
Right here. Stephen Kane, who would win in a street fight, Tony or Rashad?
Oh, yes, that's a bell.
I knew it was. Hey, listen.
What do you think, Lynn? Hold on, let us answer.
Go ahead. I'm shutting up.
Well,
I'm gonna sit back for this shit.
I've actually seen it. So.
Who would win in a street fight, me or Rashad?
Don't look at me. I'm not gonna kick your ass no matter what you say. Don't look at me.
In a street fight?
Yeah.
My money would be on Tony.
Yeah, Kev?
You a kiss ass anyway.
Because he,
Kev?
Let's think about this.
Come on.
I mean,
Well, I would punch Rashard's face in a street fight.
There's no fucking way. Tony knows I would beat his ass. He's lucky.
Hold on. Here's the
He
question.
would pity pat
Here's the
today.
question. Here's the determining. How many street fights have you been in?
Man, my whole life. Listen, I grew up fighting.
How many
I
street
can't
fights
even
have you
count.
been in?
5. He's a rich kid. He was a rich kid growing up. Never been no fights.
That's the big factor right there.
Let me tell you
Right now,
something.
live
Hey, listen. We tried to get the boxing match started. Hey, Glenn, did I try to get you to pump it up? What did Tony say? Hey, listen, mate, I don't want to get punched in my head anymore. No, I'm not doing it. No. I said, let's do it. Let's do it for the people. Let's do it for the
Yeah,
boxing burn people.
kill you in a street
Man,
fight.
listen, we will never find out because as much as I want to
will in
kick
a
his
minute.
ass, listen, every week I'm mad at him and he'll tell you this. I want to kick his ass all the time, but I love him. He's like a brother to me. I can't. He's an ignorant one, but I love him.
Come on, next
I wouldn't
one,
hurt
Phil.
him.
I'll kill you.
Next one.
You
Let's
have
see.
no chance, bro.
Is Terrell Hendricks the best mitt man at boxing?
Hey, what? Hey, T, you suck.
Definitely not.
From Michael White.
Nah, you don't suck, T. I'm messing with you.
All right.
But
here
you're not
we go.
that good, bro.
Let's see.
I'm messing with you.
I can't get the questions up.
Did Terrell really wrote that?
He's one from Ant Taylor. Have either you or Rashad overtrained for a fight?
You go first.
good question.
I've never overtrained for a fight. I think that I got it on point every single time. That's the truth. I've never overtrained for a fight.
I've undertrained for almost every fight. I've never overtrained, but I've cut weight. In my 2 losses and my 2 draws were the lightest I've ever been. They all were at 147, and I don't think I trained properly. I just killed myself to make weight. So no, I've always undertrained and dehydrated myself.
Yeah, you see, some fighters overtrain, but I think that's down to the trainer, and I think that's down to the mindset of the belief that they need to do more, not knowing when to kick back. Any more, Kev?
Yeah. There was one about diet. Where'd it go? Okay, here we go. Rod Atkinson. I'm just wondering what kind of diet you guys use whilst you must be British. Whilst training. What's it say? Training.
What kind of diet? While
Training.
training?
Hey Jeff at FTM.
So what kind of diet do we have when we were boxing? I mean, I can spend a full hour talking about that. If you want to go to TonyJeffries.com
he is pumping himself.
/diet, I've got a diet on there. What would be interesting for you, which I used to do when I fought. One big thing I used to do was have a cheat day, so I'd diet for 6 days a week and then have a cheat day on the Sunday. We've also done a podcast on dieting, which was the
we did.
Yeah. So you can go and listen to the Boxing Life podcast on there.
I think dieting for me, dieting wise, that's the only thing I did right. My diet was strict. It was strict. It was the same stuff every day. I ate oatmeal in the morning. I had eggs. That was it. I eat some fruit. My snack was a protein shake after that a few hours later. Lunch was a light protein, vegetable, brown rice. Usually brown rice, that was about it. And wouldn't have a snack later. And my dinner was fish and veggies every night. My diet was always strict. The only thing I actually did right.
So I'm seeing this question off Scott Anderson. Scott, how's it going, mate? So Scott says, Bellew says he wants to make enough money to secure his kid's future and get out.
Smart man.
Yeah. Is there any point you're thinking people think, fuck it, I'm rich, get out? I mean, boxing is one of the hardest ways to make a living. So what Bellew's saying there is amazing. Make your money and get out. I'm all for that. I made a little bit of money while I was in there. I mean, I got forced out, but I'm so happy that I got forced out because I would still be boxing now for peanuts. Well, for money, I wouldn't have a secure future.
I think boxing is one of those things where it's a use-me sport, like any other profession. Like as far as being an athlete, your sport is always going to use you and make way more of you than you'll make off them. So you have to make sure whether you become a legend, a champion, or whatever, you want to make sure you get the best you can out of your career and make sure you can use it and make money for the rest of your life. And you want to secure your future. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Yeah. Well. Anymore, that's it. So, well, thank you for listening. Rashard, for people who want to find you, where can they find you on social media?
Rashad Holloway, same thing. No Twitter anymore. I think I deleted it. Max Girl made me delete it.
Rashad Holloway. How do you spell that out, mate?
Rashad, Rashad, Holloway. Rashad Holloway, Instagram, Facebook.
And Snapchat.
Yeah, Snapchat.
Do you know what?
It's hard to hit on Snapchat.
Hard to hit.
Yeah, of
I
course.
seen Rashad Snapchat, and I think I told you before, you were back in Cincinnati where you were from, and you were showing us around, and I was like, wow, I'm proud of Rashad because you lived in a shithole, mate. it was a shithole, and for you to come out of there and do what you're doing now with no real help, I just think it's amazing. I think you've done really well.
I appreciate it, brother.
Follow Rashad's journey on Instagram, Snapchat, and you can follow the Boxing Life at Boxing Life. Use the hashtag Boxing Life. Until next time, I'm Tony Jeffries. This is Rashad Holloway.
I had fun. I think I'll be back.
This is Glenn Owens.
They needed a little flavor, you know. We need a little color. You need some color up in here. Look, your rates are gonna go through the roof after me. Come on, man. You'll be calling me every week, but I ain't got time.
Kev Watson.
Thanks for listening.
Come on, hey, Kev. Hey, listen, don't let Kev fool you. I need the Mr. Woo to come out. Come on. You always acting like, okay.
Where's the whiskey?
Let's go, baby. And Glenn, you're a piece of shit, too. I love you.
Thank you on Facebook for listening. You can catch us on Facebook. Just find Tony Jeffries, find my page on there, and we'll see you next time.
And for those who want to fight, now let's get it started. Let's go, baby. Let's go.